You already know what a dog looks like. You have lived with one. Or your neighbor has one. Or you pass one every morning on your commute, and it watches you with bright eyes and a wagging tail as if it already knows your routine better than you do. You think you understand them. Loyal, loving, playful, protective, family. But that familiarity is exactly what makes the story of dogs so fascinating. Because here is what most people are never told. The animal sleeping at the foot of your bed is not just a pet in the simple, harmless way people imagine pets. It is the result of one of the most extraordinary transformations in human history, a wild predator reshaped over thousands of years into a companion that lives inside our homes, follows us into our routines, and responds to us with a kind of devotion that feels almost impossible to explain. The image most people carry in their minds is simple. A soft, friendly animal with a wagging tail, a wet nose, and an expression that seems to say everything without words. Gentle, eager to please, emotionally open, incapable of the kind of complexity we assign to wild animals. That image is one of the most powerful illusions in all of human civilization, not because it is false, but because it is only half the story. We built that image ourselves. We gave dogs names. We let them sleep beside us. We put them on calendars, in holiday cards, in movies, in advertisements, on social media. We turned them into symbols of comfort, loyalty, and unconditional love. We made them part of the family, and in doing so, we forgot what an achievement that actually was. To understand the domestic dog, you first have to understand what it really is. The dog is not just a cute animal that happened to become friendly over time. It is the product of an ancient partnership between humans and wolves, shaped through generations of selective breeding, patience, observation, and survival. The domestic dog, Canis familiaris, came from the same evolutionary line as the wolf, and while time changed its appearance, habits, and relationship with humans, the foundations of canine behavior never disappeared. What changed was not the existence of instinct, but the way instinct was guided, softened, redirected, and refined. That is why dogs can be so affectionate, so responsive, so deeply tuned into human emotion, and also why they remain so biologically remarkable. The transformation did not erase the animal's original architecture. It could not. It only redirected it. The ancient hunting sequence that once helped wolves survive in the wild did not vanish. It was narrowed, softened, and reshaped across thousands of years of breeding. In wolves, the full predatory sequence follows a pattern. Search, orient, eye, stalk, chase, grab, bite, consume. Every step serves a purpose. Every movement connects to the next. And even though the modern pet dog spends its life on couches, in yards, on carpets, and in kitchens, somewhere deep inside its nervous system, the blueprint still exists. Breeding changed expression, not origin. That is why different breeds behave so differently. A border collie was shaped to watch movement, respond instantly, and control livestock with precision. A retriever was shaped to carry objects gently, with control and focus. A terrier was shaped for speed, persistence, and determination. A shepherd breed was shaped for vigilance and direction. These differences are not random. They are the story of human intention written into living bodies. We did not create dogs by accident. We designed them for roles. We selected for traits that made life easier, safer, more useful, more connected, and in the process, we created the most adaptable companion species the world has ever known. That adaptability is one of the reasons dogs have become so deeply embedded in human life. They live with us, travel with us, work with us, comfort us, and often understand us better than we understand ourselves. They read tone, posture, routine, energy, emotion, and attention in ways that feel almost intuitive. A dog can know when you are sad before you speak. It can react to a doorbell before you reach it. It can sense a change in atmosphere that another human might not notice at all. That level of attunement is not magic. It is the result of thousands of years of selection for social responsiveness, awareness, and cooperation. And yet, the more familiar dogs become, the more invisible their origin story tends to be. People speak of them as if they were born to be house pets, as if loyalty came first and survival came later. But the truth is more dramatic than that. Dogs are not simply friendly animals that learned to live with humans. They are descendants of hunters who became partners. They are animals whose instincts were not deleted, only redirected. That matters because the traits we celebrate in dogs, alertness, drive, speed, focus, attachment, protectiveness, persistence, are all versions of deeply powerful survival traits. We see the softness. The animal still carries the structure beneath it. This is what makes dogs so unique among domesticated animals. A cow does not stare at you with expressive anticipation when you open a door. A horse does not wait at the window for you to come home with the same emotional weight a dog can carry in its entire body. A cat may live beside you, but a dog often orients its whole life around your presence. That is why so many people describe them in almost human language. Best friend, child, guardian, soulmate, companion, family member. The words come easily because dogs behave in ways that fit the emotional shape of human life. They do not just exist near us. They participate in our emotional world. But that emotional connection is only part of the story. The deeper story is how much work it took to create an animal that could live inside a human household and still remain biologically strong, alert, athletic, and responsive. Selective breeding over generations produced enormous variation. Some breeds were made to run long distances. Some were made to retrieve without damaging delicate objects. Some were made to watch over flocks. Some were made to signal danger. Some were made to remain calm with children. Some were made to tolerate weather, movement, noise, and routine better than others. The result is a species that is not uniform, but astonishingly diverse in temperament, size, shape, coat, and behavior. And that diversity is one of the reasons dogs became the world's most successful domestic companion. They can live in apartments or farms, cities or villages, luxury homes or tiny rooms. They can be workers, helpers, companions, guides, rescuers, therapy animals, or simply beloved pets. They adapt not only to environments, but to us. That is what makes them so powerful in human culture. They are not distant from us. They are woven into us. They appear in childhood memories, in family routines, in grief, in healing, in security, in silence, in joy. For many people, a dog is the first creature that ever made them feel fully seen. That emotional power is also why people sometimes underestimate them. Familiarity creates comfort, and comfort creates assumptions. People assume that because a dog is loving, it must also be simple. They assume that because it is affectionate, it must be easy to understand completely. But animals are never that simple. A dog's behavior is shaped by instinct, training, environment, experience, health, energy, breed tendencies, and relationship dynamics. The dog that greets you at the door is not a machine repeating one fixed behavior. It is a living system responding to the world around it every second of the day. That is what makes dogs so remarkable, and why responsible ownership matters so much. The science of canine behavior shows that dogs are highly sensitive to human cues. They watch faces, body language, sound patterns, and emotional shifts. They learn routines with impressive speed. They recognize safe spaces, trusted people, and familiar patterns. They can develop remarkable bonds with their owners, and many dogs genuinely seem to prefer cooperation over conflict. This is part of what makes them so effective as companions. Human beings value trust, and dogs have become one of the clearest examples of trust that can exist between two different species. But trust does not happen automatically. It is built. It is shaped by upbringing, experience, discipline, and care. A well-socialized dog often becomes a calm, balanced, affectionate member of the household because it has learned what the world means. It has learned what is normal, what is expected, and what is safe. That process matters more than most people realize. A dog is not born knowing how to behave in a modern home full of noise, children, visitors, doors, screens, food, and constant change. It must learn. And humans, in turn, must learn how to understand what the dog is communicating. This mutual learning is one of the most beautiful things about pet dogs. They are not just pets in the passive sense. They are interpreters of human life. They adjust to our moods, our habits, our schedules, our energy. They teach children empathy. They comfort the lonely. They create structure for people who need routine. They encourage movement, responsibility, and connection. They can improve daily life in ways that are hard to measure because they influence the emotional climate of a home, not just the visible activities inside it. That is why dogs are often described not just as pets, but as companions with a social role. Still, the deeper truth is that the dog is a carefully balanced creature. The same evolutionary history that gave it devotion also gave it intensity. The same biology that makes it loving also makes it alert, energetic, and highly responsive. This is why different breeds demand different kinds of care, training, and attention. A small dog with high alertness is not the same as a herding breed with strong drive. A calm lap companion is not the same as a working dog that was built to think, move, and react all day long. Understanding a dog means respecting what it was bred to do, not just what we want it to be. And this is where the story becomes even more interesting, because when people say pet dog, they usually imagine one thing, a creature that exists for human comfort. But the reality is richer than that. A pet dog is the product of both ancient instinct and modern intimacy. It is a descendant of wild lineage that has learned to live by human rules. It is both deeply dependent on us and astonishingly capable in its own right. It is an animal whose face can soften with affection, whose body can relax into trust, whose ears can turn toward the sound of your voice, and whose entire presence can change the emotional temperature of a room. That is why dogs hold such a special place in human life. They are not merely animals that sit beside us. They are one of the clearest examples of how two species can evolve a relationship built on trust, utility, affection, and shared history. They remind us that domestication is not just control. It is collaboration. It is adaptation. It is generations of living side by side until the boundary between nature and companionship begins to blur. And once you see dogs that way, you stop looking at them as ordinary pets. You start seeing them for what they really are. One of the most extraordinary partnerships ever formed between humans and the living world. Somewhere right now, a dog is waiting by a doorway. Somewhere, another is curled at someone's feet. Somewhere, one is watching a child play, head tilted, patient, and alert. And in all of these moments, the same truth remains. The pet dog is not just a cute creature trained to fit into human life. It is the living result of thousands of years of selection, adaptation, trust, and emotional connection, a companion shaped by history, sustained by care, and still carrying the ancient brilliance that made humans stop and say long ago, this animal, belongs with us.